because thus far, the PNM has been absolutely silent as a Trinidad and Tobago government on the issue of Essequibo. Or the only statement coming out of the government was that CARICOM position is our position. Well, CARICOM is not negotiating our children's future with dragon gas. As the minister said, everything is dragon gas. All trips, 20 trips, everything for the last 5 years. In the COVID, Delcy Rodriguez visit, Asdrubal Chavez coming, everything USA, going up to Congress has been dragon gas. Dragon gas is their football. Dragon gas is their LeBron James. But now it is in jeopardy, and the PNM and the Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Energy came here today and did not say anything. Because had we had the minister read the motion and come to the Senate and say, listen, we understand the situation. We are not only going to negotiate gas price and so on to get and monetize that dragon field, but we are going to ensure that the cessation of hostilities is forthwith, so that we have put a strong team to go there, to sit down as the arbiter between Guyana and Venezuela, because we have a great relationship with Maduro. The Honorable Prime Minister danced the conga line with Maduro. The other minister has been sitting cross-legged with the Delcy Rodriguez on 10 different times without any technocrats. We did not hear that. So therefore, we are worried because everything is a secret. And Trinidad and Tobago's future has been put on hold by the PNM because all the eggs in that basket. We want to know what is the position between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago and the USA, Trinidad and Tobago and Russia, Iran, and getting involved and mortgaging our children's future. We have heard nothing from the Minister of Energy today that could make the population feel that we are in good hands. We have a track record of 8 years of demise of the energy sector. We refine nothing, we make nothing, we had no bitumen. The Point 14 highway are more pothole than Diego Martin, and Trinidad and Tobago is in a total state of chaos.
douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics, listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics.
Check. Good evening. I don't know what to do with my people in Trinidad and Tobago. We are the Mako slow country. Traffic just there by Cuba, by La Penca. I say, oh Lord, another accident and thing heading southbound. What is this? I dip down underneath by the tunnel, do a little kind of drive and come out. You know it's an accident on the northbound. The traffic on the southbound is for we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to look at Mako, what going on the northbound. But we don't Mako fast, you know. We just have to Mako slow. Oh Lord, let's stop it now, man. Good evening. Welcome to douglAR Politics. I ain't know what going on. We don't start late, but Archie Ariel Skill Boy, he fling up a little Senate contribution. We coming back to that. First things first, we had to support the Cerebral Palsy Association. Stephen Reese has a function. Parang, look at band, look at Parang, food inclusive. You know, Christmas is music, food, community, togetherness. Stephen Reese for a worthy cause, and Vandana Mohit in Chaguanas East provided when the PNM and Donna Cox want to charge the Cerebral Palsy Association and throw them out a building. Vandana Mohit got a building for them. So support Stephen Reese is this Saturday, 3:50. Look at music. Put it up, Lara Brothers, Leon Cordero, Amicus de la Música. We going down, and real food. Undercover in Santa Cruz. Drive up safely, designated driver. Support. It's for a great cause. So call, check out Breaking Dawn, Stephen Reese. Look the numbers there. Buy your tickets, please. Yes, the douglAR going. Must support the charity. And Vandana Mohit, well done. I just want to say, congratulations to my son, to my middle child, to the sweet boy, and to all your women, when I say congratulations to my son, who just got called to the bar. Actually, hear the picture, pop the picture now. Yeah, it come in. All of your ladies, I have set up a committee, because you see me and my son being sweeter than me is all right. That means he's a good father. When your son better looking, sweeter, brighter, calmer, nicer. So I have set up a committee chaired by the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. It includes Jayanti Lakshmi Dayal and Jerlene John. For all you ladies who would like to qualify to probably go on a date and see if all you can make it, they have to be vetted by Kamala, Jerlene, and Jayanti. Must be very bright. Unfortunately, if you are a PNM, you're disqualified, because you can't be bright and be a PNM. So to the girls who would like to still vote PNM, all you don't need to apply. All right? Congratulations to my son, our next lawyer in the family. Bush lawyer, real lawyer. Bless. Now, Jean Samuel, we saw a video. And let me tell you something. There's a national hero. And Anil don't play with national heroes. So there was a video that came out disturbing allegations about Jean Geronimo Samuel. This is a man who finished fourth in the 1984 Olympics by a 100th of a second. And his bike was 7 ounces heavier than them fellas Harnett and them who was done in aerodynamics kind of thing, all kind of thing. Just missed a medal by a oomph. And it was a borrowed bike because the main bike did not function. There's a man who in 1996 went to the Olympics in Atlanta to try and get a medal for Trinidad and Tobago. And his manager, Castani, had to ask me, the swimming coach, to massage his leg because Trinidad and Tobago did not invest in a massage therapist. And massaging them leg is like massaging concrete, like I went Presticon. So when I saw a video that was very disturbing, and I'm not going to say anything because I have obviously investigated, and it's up to the police to come and talk the truth, because we heard some serious allegations that are mind-boggling. But when I asked the police and I checked the record, those allegations appear to be absolutely not true. So police, this is a national hero. You all need to come out and say, was there a gun involved? Really? Was there? Yes or no? Because from my investigation, it's not so. But we will wait to see the outcome. Okay? So all of y'all who like to jump to judgment and so on, slow your roll. Okay? Blessings. But to the police, simple question. In the initial report, which was done 2 weeks before the video that went viral, did the report state, as reported by my brother, my partner, Levi Myers, was there a gun involved? Because that is a critical issue. And if there was not, then somebody in the police, earlier you're always quick to come out to say something when Rowley do something happened with Rowley or Fitzgerald at Talbot, sleepy, narcolepsy, body bag, ride a horse with an 8-year-old boy. Good thing Fitzgerald Hines here don't ride bike, you know. You could have imagined putting him, he would have put an 8-year-old boy on the bike, and Fitzgerald would have ride without the seat. Fitzgerald, Pomsite, Rasta, Hines. So we will check out that. So police, give you a little check. Watch this. For all of you West Indies cricket fans who remember the West Indies, world champions 1975, world champions 1979, finalists in the World Cup 1983, bowling India out for 183, and then somehow we lost. And from that point onwards, from 1983 to present, 40 years of pain with West Indies cricket. Look at this field. 1977, West Indies versus New Zealand. All 11 behind the wicket. That is what you call pain. Do you know the kind of arrogance, the kind of confidence, the kind of ability, the kind of pace, the kind of understanding that the captain had to have and confidence to put every man behind the wicket? Because if you only stray a oomph, it's a boundary because nobody could stop it. That is cricket. What's that? That is intimidation. Yes, the game changed with helmet and arm pad and bicep pad and chest pad and rib pad and left pad and box pad. All they didn't have is always safety pad. But this was when cricket was cricket. Well, I don't know if we go ever reach that. I know some all you get headache right there. Now, the Guardian said, because there's a new Jamaican High Commissioner here, the Guardian says it's more than winning medals, because Amory Brown went to meet the Jamaican High Commissioner and so on. And the Guardian editorial said there is need for greater cooperation and collaboration in athletics and community youth development to unearth and tap into the vast potential that resides not only within our two nations, but the wider Caribbean. In terms of athletics, TNT has a lot to learn from Jamaica. TNT has also demonstrated some prowess in track and field, but still has not managed to fully harness that sporting potential in terms of training and development. Establishing clear paths to success for youth population is that otherwise face difficult social and economic hurdles that can often lead them into the wrong direction, so sport is needed. Particularly at this juncture when crime and violence is threatening dangerous levels of instability, not only in Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, but most CARICOM countries, member states, targeted bilateral initiatives. So we have this Guardian editorial, and we have an article by former president of the Olympic Committee, Brian Lewis. Now let me read this. It's headlined again. I plead. Brian Lewis, he pleads, let us use the vehicle of sport to fight crime. Now I'm going to read this, and I'm showing you all by these two things why politics in Trinidad and Tobago has become a joke. Why Shamfa could be the Minister of Sport in the PNM. Why Rowley could be Prime Minister as opposed to Kamla. Because of things like this. This, you all don't choke, you know, this man is now saying, plead, he's pleading. Let's use sport to fight crime. Now understand, what would make a human being who is normally intelligent, who may have had some experience in sport, he may not have been that good at anything in sport, play a little rugby, management style, not very good, but he are wrong. So things, he could have learned things by diffusion. But what would make somebody who is quite intelligent talk so much nonsense, be so disingenuous? The only thing could be politics. Because if you look, and I'm going to read some quotes from the article, and you will see at certain points, the gentleman who's normally very specific gets very vague. You want to know why he gets very vague? Because to talk the truth and to put the facts would mean Kamla was great for sport. Kamla was great for Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla was putting the money where the youth could benefit, and therefore the crime situation would be under control. And for a PNM, because he screened for Port of Spain South, he lost out to Keith Scotland, who can't even get to act as Attorney General. But you see, he was always a quiet, private PNM. So he can't talk the truth. But they are such hypocrites. And imagine he used the word hypocrite to describe somebody else, you know. Brian Lewis, let me read your words. The savagery that has resulted in gang wars here in Trinidad and Tobago, and in particular in the East-West corridor, it's beyond brutal. The majority of the bodies dropped in this brutality are young Trinbagonian youth. The citizenry reacts and recoils in fear and horror at the killing spree. As we descend into the murder capital abyss of darkness, let me pause there. But you as a PNM. But every time PNM is in power, and PNM has been in power 49 out of 66 years, the crime rate goes up, the murder rate goes up, the lack of resources, everything, the conditions become rife for crime. But yet, you choose to screen for the PNM. Why is that? Because your brain is telling you, your article is saying, don't go PNM. PNM is horrible. PNM does not take care of the youth, especially in the East-West corridor, especially young black youth. That's what you're saying here. But yet you screen for the PNM. You see, I tell you, it's a cult. It's a sickness. Let me continue, you know. Brian Lewis. It is our society that has created the gang culture. Really? So it's society. It's not the government. It's not the policy. It's not the policy of the PNM that has controlled and guided the society through ministries, through being the 75% spender in the economy, through the Prime Minister and the Cabinet allocating resources to different and disparate ministries. So the PNM had nothing to do. It's just we society. But how come when PNM out of power, the society does get better and the crime rate does go down? How come in 1995 to 2001, the murder rate went down to less than 60 under Bastille Pandey? How come? How come in 2010 to 2015, in 2008, the murder rate was 550 and by 2013, it was 379? How come? You see, the sickness that is PNM, and reading he words, you know, Anil, okay. He continues. Talk to those trying for years to stem the tide of social ills, injustices, and inequalities that have led to the current savagery, and they will tell you their programs and initiatives have not received the needed funding consistently. Now, when you interpret this from the mind of a PNM, they will tell you they have not received the funding consistently. What he did not say is that when the UNC is in charge, when Kamla is in charge, when Anil is in charge, all of these organizations, whether TT Pro League, Super League, every 49 sporting organizations, the youth development, the coaching caravan, policies, women in sport, girls in sport, youth development officers, sport development officers, live sport, across the board, culture, school football, everybody, primary school football, community football with equipment and funding, sports days over. Anil increased the NPI vote, which is that what he's talking about, from the PNM's average of 9.6 million to 145 million. But you see, this sick PNM cannot be truthful because you're a dishonest man, and he go send you a message about, hey, God bless you, go in church. Yeah, you save that message, don't give me that now. Because you see, I prefer you to save all the blessings for yourself, because God need to bless dishonest people like you. So he says the organizations, including Olympic Committee, you know, under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and me, I'm telling you, Olympic Committee between 2010 and 2015 got 420% more funding at every level, for education, for trips, for coaching, for science, for medical, across the board, than now under the PNM. You feel he can write that? Because he want to be a PNM. So it's a selfishness, a hypocrisy that causes our country to be like this. Let me continue to read these little morsels of brilliance from an Afro-headed PNM. Right? Go ahead. He continued. They have not received the needed funding consistently. The reasons for this vary. It vary. You know what it vary? PNM don't give no money, and UNC and Kamla does give money. How you mean it vary? The reasons, it only have one reason. PNM does not invest in young people. PNM does not invest in sport. PNM does not invest in young black youth. PNM does not care. You can't write that, because you will have to write the truth. For you to be so disingenuous and dishonest is a sin. So when you're sending out your broadcast about God bless people, go and confess, right? Go and confess like the policeman who say about they were shoot you and pelting in the commentators now. But the fact of the matter is that programs that were making a difference crashed because of lack of funding. We are serious when it suits or is convenient. You serious? You are serious when it's convenient, but it's not even convenient enough for you to be factual and truthful. In the war against crime, sport matters because sport is the vehicle that can harness and it helps the social development of individuals who can channel that energy through their talents and not the gangs and the gang culture, and they see the equalizer of overcoming their perceived oppression. When live sport existed, and when the PNM started to lie about live sport and through corruption, you were the president of the Olympic Committee. I was the minister. You were in charge in Pro League football. You knew that Pro League football was getting $5.2 million for administration and another 11 to 14 million for the club development, player development, science and technology development per year. You knew that. You knew that live sport was helping young black youth all across this country in the hotspots areas as identified by Selwyn Ryan. You knew that sporting heroes, former national football captains, national coach now, Angus Eve, Reynold Carrington, even the PNM counselor who's assistant coach on the national team, I forget his name now, Redman, who used to coach Joe Public and used to play for the national team. It was part of live sport impacting on the lives of these young black urban youth who were out of work and doing crime, actively involved. They were meeting them every day, teaching them, disciplining them, sociologists, psychologists, talent identification. They were getting a stipend of $1,500. Many of them didn't even have an ID. They had no bank account. We just know that they are Trinbagonian because they're on the rock. You didn't say anything. You didn't even have the class, the wherewithal, the rectitude, the propriety, the decorum, the discipline, nor the courtesy to call me and say, Anil, what is this going on? What is this live sport? Tell me what's going on. What are all these accusations? Not once. So save your pretentious hypocrisy for somebody else. It's because of weak testicular fortitude, less people like you, that our country is in a mess. You belong to a little brotherhood in the Olympic Committee that you all shake hands, knock glass, and pass on the presidency to who next? Not involving everybody. You all are the ones who take and use funding to promote and push who you feel you like. You all have poison sport. You come to say that you talked about medals instead of gun. What do you know about medals? You were the one who told me on August 3rd, 2004 when George Bovell arrived and you were chef de mission, and I said I need his nice Trinidad and Tobago outfit by 5 p.m. because I'm taking him to train. You look at me in my face and tell me the athletes are arriving on the 10th because the opening ceremony was August 11, 2004, and George will get his equipment then. I sent George upstairs and I cussed you, and he got the equipment immediately. Remember that, son? Because you didn't even understand what it means to be in Olympics, how an athlete needs to feel good, look good, be good, to do good. And the only man bring a medal is who? That same George Bovell III. So save your hypocrisy for those who don't know. Go and screen for the PNM again. Go and screen for the government that has the crime scourge accelerating while the Prime Minister plays games and does not go to crime talks. Go and vote, go and screen to go into the PNM that cuts funding to the Pro League, Super League, netball, football, cricket, all sport across the board. Go and vote for the PNM that cut the SOSA award, fire all the sport development officers, cut the coaching caravan, cut women in sport, cut all the funding to youth programs throughout, cut the small goal league that was there for $1 million prize, cut live sport, lie on thing. Go and vote that and stop writing your nonsense, because I know you and you are part of the problem. Disingenuous, dishonest, hypocrite, movie boy. 41 people trapped, workers trapped. New Delhi, 41 construction workers who have been trapped in a collapsed tunnel in the northern India for about over a week. Now, this was a week ago. A week has passed. They have come out. The rescuers risked their lives and saved all. Finally got hot meals on Tuesday, provided through a newly installed steel pipe as rescuers work to an alternate plan of digging toward them vertically. For the last 9 days, the workers survived off the dried food sent through a narrow pipe. Oxygen is being supplied to them through a separate pipe. Officials on Tuesday released a video camera after a camera was pushed through the pipe, showing the workers in their construction hats moving around the blocked tunnel while communicating with rescuers who were risking their lives to save the construction workers. Currently, rescuers are creating an access road on top of the hill from where they can dig vertically. From the vertical direction, they can get access. About 200 disaster relief personnel were working assiduously to free the trapped workers. Why did I take my time to read that? Oh, Archie, how you know that? I didn't tell you to put that. Archie, how you know that? That is what I was going to talk about and compare. Here you had divers, not under no tons of rock, not caved in. You had divers right there, a few feet down, in a pipe. You had proof of life. A man come out and say, come on, my brothers right there. I was talking to them. They're injured, but they're alive and they're talking. And the PNM, Rowley's golfing buddy, the husband of blue hair lady from the parliament, Newman George, and Piper, and Stuart Smallpin, disgusting, dishonest, arrogant, Young, in charge, and left those men 39 hours to die a slow, painful death, preventing divers from going in to try and save them. Discussing that, oh, there was a possibility that rescuers could be harmed. That's what rescuers do. They willingly risk their lives to save others. This is what happened when they were drilling in India. They started drill horizontal, big rock and tons of rocks started falling. They say, stop. They say, listen, we need more time to formulate a strategy, pump some oxygen, get some food in, push it through there. Let me try from the top. They try, and 8 days later, all men alive. If the PNM was in charge, all them workers dead, like the Paria divers, and we await the report. COP28 cop out, says the Newsday editorial. The Prime Minister's decision not to attend the upcoming gathering of world leaders on climate crisis is disappointing, says the Newsday. Well, Newsday, you put him there. You and your former editor who went past the tree dog, past the parrot, down in the dungeon, open the door, lie down on the red couch and wait for Rowley, Horny, Gottfried to take effect. That's who you all have as Prime Minister. So don't be shocked. Last year he was gallerying, or last 2 years, oh, the environment and did it, and he's doing this and that. What nonsense. This total mama pool. You all allow to talk wherever he want. And now you say, oh, it's disappointing that he didn't go COP28. COP28 don't have no CEO. It had no deal to make. It have no negotiation to do. It had no big money. It had no oil. It had no gas. It had no goat. It had no Chinese gate. It had no construction contract. It had no vessel to buy. It had no money. COP28 is just for sensible people who would like to improve the lives of the globe, of the people, of the 8 billion human beings. Not this fool. Not this. So y'all are upset that he didn't go? Well, let me tell you, Newsday. He didn't go. But you know where he going? He going to London with his small pin to sign off on the new share agreement with Atlantic Train 1, 2, 3, and 4. One still shut down. Newsday, why you didn't ask him how much maintenance they pay for the last 2 years to keep Atlantic Train 1 up? When the shareholders say we ain't want that, he coming to tell we that he and Smallpin, the two worst negotiators in the history of politics in the Caribbean, they're going to negotiate and we're going to get a higher percentage of the LNG from Atlantic. Yeah, because Atlantic and them don't want Train 1, because Train 1 dead. Them hoping the Dragon come And that's the whole thing. The man say in the Senate yesterday, small pen, well, yes, almost immediately we could get gas from Dragon because it's proven. We just have to build 174 kilometer pipeline underneath sea. We just had to do that, but we could get and then he said, well, not immediately. Well, as fast as we possibly could. This fool who all your PNM says are PNM, all you didn't even know this clown until 2014 when he went to defend Rowley in his pathological lying in email gate. A liar defend a liar, and now we on top of all your PNM, and all you going, yes, small pin. Yes, you respect the small pin. Oh God, that small pin chokes up. Oh gosh, yes, small pin. That's what you all have to do. This fool, this dunce, he's an attorney, he's a bush lawyer, and BT so bad that a man who didn't put in a defense on loss. All you ever hear that? In this jurisdiction, if you don't put in a defense, you're lost. When Brian Manning sued me, he and Kwamina was the lawyers. Brian Manning with the $9 million, with the arrogance. My brother and myself, my brother was the real attorney, I is the bush lawyer. When it come to court, they want to settle, they want to beg now. It had 4 or 5 years to settle, you know. But they're so lazy and dumb, they didn't know that everything I say is factual. All you know up to now. That was about 13 years ago. The show was about 14 years ago. I still talking all the time, and I ain't get sued yet, and can't get sued. Why? Because I don't open my mouth until I check, double check, triple check. And no matter what a scumbucket this is. You understand? You see, my son get called to the bar. His stepdaughter go be behind bars. That's what he is. He's a scumbucket, and then want to discard the girl. See? That's my son. Got called to the bar. Small pin stepdaughter going behind bars. Yes, and you all have him negotiating on behalf of you, the people. And he's saying, I, unpatriotic, national swimmer former, national under-19 footballer former, Olympic coach, Olympic medal winning coach, world championship, 4 world championship medals, 8 top 100 world rank swimmers, over 28 CCCAN gold medals, 73 CISC gold medals, 350 Carifta gold medals coached by me, and this small pin, stupid dunce calling me unpatriotic. When he ever do anything for the country, it's billions. When he sit down on the off inquiry, right, that Rowley called, hundreds of thousands in fees. When he become a minister, the first thing he and Al-Rawi and Rowley do is take Malcolm Jones out of court. $13 billion of your money gone. First thing he do is swear on the Bible. The company where his brother was by Frankie's there where we just drink rum and lime had gotten 0 public sector work. When he reached, within the first 4 years, $4.2 billion. His father, when Dr. Terence Farrell in January 2018 resigned from the Economic Development Board, you know what Rowley did? Rowley put small pin father, daddy small pin, genetic small pin. He hand down the small pin to the small pin in charge of a committee to meet all possible investors. Because anything with your money, Rowley have to have his boys and them there. His AA Kwamina, heritage, money. Shut down Petroleum, put a lawyer because, wait now, why you vex with Gary? Because he was still investigating fake oil and he wanted funding to get a forensic chemical engineer to talk about the quantities of oil that could have come out during the time with the pressure in the pump and so on. Hey, Rowley, why you shut down Petroleum, Rowley? We talking about that later too. Well, the Prime Minister heads to London for energy deal sign-up. What tell you? COP28, environment, global warming, survival of the planet, survival of humanity. These things are not important to Rowley. Deal, money, all your money, just spend it. That, he ain't missing that. He jumping on a plane to go and sign deal. And who you gonna take? Technocrats? You gonna take public servants? Permanent secretaries? No. He walking with his small pin. Integrity Commission. Those who fail to declare will face court. Okay. Yes, Integrity Commission. You sound like you have integrity. You sound boss like that. What about those who lie on their form like Keith Christopher Rowley? What about those who did not fill out their form B correctly and left out the Inez Gate property? What about those who put the wrong value of the Inez Gate property and signed that form? What about that? That is not an illegal act. That they break the law. Them kind of people, Rowley ain't going in court. But man who ain't fill out the form for this, you're going in court with them? What about putting and not declaring a 468,000 benefit when Section 24(1) to Section 27 of the Integrity Public Life Act says that once you get a gift or benefit above $5,000 from any one source, meaning his best friend, Warner Construction, who was his business partner in farm and all kind of thing. I don't know if he was lineman with him when this one was a school teacher and used his power position. Imagine you're a school teacher. You are there, respected, sir, to teach, to guide the youth, to uplift them, to motivate them, to educate them. And this one could only study to get pum-pum from a girl at school age. And all you vote for that? All you vote, it's a fly. Actually, every time this man reach with that fly, like this fly, this fly reach, boy. Sorry. Yes. So Integrity Commission, what about he? Integrity stops there. Oh, pause. Yes, move in. Cox. Hey, Cox. Donna, what you going to get? As I say, 3 dog, a parrot, and a red couch. Next article. Donna Cox. Hey, Donna Cox. Penalize those who don't report abuse of minors. Fantastic, Donna Cox. I agree. If a child is being abused in any form or fashion, and an adult knows, and they don't report it, I agree with Donna. Donna, this wig look good. Or Weaver, whatever, me and a bundle, I don't know, my ball head, me, man, I might have to borrow your bundle. Anyway, Donna, you're correct. Any adult who will have critical information and not protect children needs to be penalized harshly to the full extent of the law. Well, Donna, put up Rowley next to Donna there. Now, you don't have to put the red couch and the parrot and thing yet, right? But Donna, what about this fellow who appointed you a minister? A report was handed to this fellow 2 years ago, December 2021. December 11, 2021, Donna. A report that said children in the care of the government were being abused, raped, bullied, burnt with cigarettes, battered, verbally abused. And up to now, Donna, nothing has been done. So what to do about him, Donna? You see, don't come out and pretend. Don't come out and play holier than thou. What to do with a prime minister who receives a report and does not act on it to protect children? Because Donna Cox says, Minister of Social Development and Family Services, Donna Cox, condemned parents or guardians who knowingly remain silent when their children are subject to prostitution, sometimes as a means to help ease their families' financial burdens. Minister Cox said, everyone needs to do their part, but those who know and do nothing should face consequences. So Donna, what about this man? Donna, he received the report 2 years now. What about Ayanna Webster Roy? What about your government? Nothing has been done. The children are still in the hands and care of the same abusers, the same rapists, the same monsters, the same sickos. So what to do with all your Donna? Please tell, because I read it here, you know. I agree with you, Donna. But you see, Donna, you can't have fly-by-night principles. You can't say what is wrong with a parent doing that is right if your cabinet do it, or if your prime minister do it? What has been done to protect the children, Donna? Please tell me. Because you see, I know you long. And you, like children, you have helped many children through netball and children who didn't have food. You see, I know. And even though I dislike your political stance and your policies, I have to give Jack the jacket and Jim the gym boots. When you were managing netball teams in Trinidad and Tobago, many poor children who didn't have shoes, socks, food, water, drink, money to go back home, you took out your pocket. I know that, Donna Cox. So I asking you, Donna Cox, while I agree with you, because you said a lot of people know what is happening and they don't report it, Cox said. Therefore, they should be penalized as well. It's not just about the parents, but people who have the knowledge of something that is happening and it's not right. It should be reported. Donna, I'm reporting Keith Rowley to you. I'm reporting Ayanna Webster Roy to you, Donna. They have the report 2 years, a detailed document, and nothing has been done to protect our nation's children in the homes that are funded by the PNM, by the government. I am reporting Rowley to you, Donna. So let me see what you do. Repo, they say, hi, sir, Repo. No cameras here. This is the man, the police officer saying, you know, by the pulpit, you know, in the presence of the Lord Almighty, you know. And then when they realize the fellas just didn't have insurance, he tell them, well, if it was some other police, if it was the wrong set of police, them would have done kill all you and plant something on all you. Normal, no stress. And you all understand now that the police requires great leadership. The PCA requires millions of dollars of funding because police have awesome power. Police could take away your freedom. And the laws that are passed in Parliament, one has to be careful. So when the PNM come with a draconian thing and say, no bail, no yes, that sounds good because we all scared. Monsters, we see in the videos of killers and we assume that everybody the police hold is a criminal, a murderer. We assume that, so we say yes, lock them up, no trial, bust their neck, do all. There's one problem. Not everybody caught is a criminal. You're innocent until proven guilty. And when you're a parliamentarian, no matter how dire the situation, you always have to jealously protect the rights of innocent, the rights of citizens for due process, natural justice, and the law. See, it's not just easy, but the PNM play games. Lock them up, no bail. Look, some last few weeks you're seeing cases, man, on remand for 10, 12, 13 years and get off, right? I hear and I got reports and confirmation that the Ministry of Education staff is working all till midnight. Look at here, look at this is not all. I investigated, I called on inside and so on, called security by the ministry. Ministry of Education staff are working up to midnight on teachers' back pay with a nursery set up to facilitate staff with their children. But yet Rowley abused the permanent secretary, called him all sorts of names, transferred him out, attacked him because he said just that what Colmimbert announced on the budget without consulting with the ministry, the permanent secretary, the public service, was nonsensical. It was impossible. It was impractical. It was impracticable. It could not be done with the current staffing arrangement. They cuss up the man. They destroy his reputation. They transfer him. The only person could transfer horizontally a permanent secretary is the prime minister of the country. Rowley abused and attacked the man because he knows permanent secretaries by profession and convention cannot respond. Rowley, why you don't attack me? Because I will respond, you scumbucket, you sicko, you ridiculous golfer. You spend so much time. You know what kind of unskilled human being you have to be To spend so much time at something and be so bad at it. You love golf, but golf don't love you. You suck, Rowley. And you're a bully to bully a permanent secretary. But the permanent secretary was correct. And after all of this, after all the memo, after all the transfer of extra human resource to the ministry, you know they cannot get it back maybe before Christmas still. They cannot do it. So Rowley attacks, abuses, and transfers a permanent secretary for telling the truth because you all elected a pathological, misogynistic liar. Education disparities. I wouldn't go through all this because I'm going on a bit long today. But in the Express, Sunday Express, page 8, education disparities. But I'll just summarize it for you. Indian children doing good, African children at the bottom throughout the country. Indian children excelling at academia, African children in the main majority performing worse than they ever had. And in 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, and early 1980s, African children were the geniuses, were the scholars, were the toppers, were the tops in common entrance, tops in O-level GCE, tops in A-level, tops in law, tops in... As I say that, I say tops in law. Imagine I had to go and watch my son being called to the bar. His uncle, Shastri, my younger brother, bringing him forward. And I had to listen to the Honorable Chief Justice make a short speech and talk about ethics. Well, that alone I will leave there. And then I had to sit and watch 3 High Court judges, resplendent. There were 79 attorneys being called to the bar. What you all think the douglAR did? If all you know the douglAR, they had 79 on that day. They had like 2 batches, right? The Thursday and the Friday. My son was on the Thursday. They had 79. What do you think the douglAR did? If all you know me, yes, I count out of the 79 how much Indian, how much African, and how much mix. Out of the 79, they had 54 Indian, 54 Indian, 20 African, and the rest mix, 5 mix. And I put my son in the mix because he is 25% African, 25% Indian, my 50%, and 50% Portuguese, Trini Portuguese, right? So I leave it out. Never mind, he look like me and he look like my mother, so he look Indian, right? Forget that. I ain't count he. What he did? I ain't count he. Or let's say he look like some Tate or something, me, you know. And all your ladies, you could, Kamala, Jolene, and Jayanti will screen all you. Right. 54 Indian. It had 8 Muhammad. It had Salih Muhammad. It had Jalil Muhammad. It had if you see Muhammad, only Muhammad and Muhammad and Muhammad. I say, boy, if I have an next child, I had to call him Muhammad, I want our next lawyer. You understand? But I had to listen to the Chief Justice, African, the next justice who gave the speech, I forget his name, excellent speech, from Lavantie, rise up, proud of him. And another lovely, beautiful African High Court judge. 3 African judges, a full court as they say. And the speech being given was, embrace your diversity. Respect your diversity. Go out there into the world and give a true representation of Trinidad and Tobago. And 3 African Christian talking to 79 graduate, 54 Indian, 20 African, plenty Hindu, plenty Muslim, and all kind of things. And them talking diversity and could not see the irony of the nonsense them talking. It's great to be a douglAR. Life is so simple. Life is so pure. You're either good and make sense, or you're dotish and prejudiced. You know them, then they will go back and check now, you know. Brilliant speech, you know, but nonsense. Because all you couldn't find an Indian judge there, a Hindu, a Muslim, all you couldn't mix it, All you mix it, Trinidad and Tobago mix up. NCBFG's profits dropped by 56%. That global finance, that small pin young and them brother thing. All you watch that, eh? 25 most beautiful Caribbean territories. Well, boy, I need to see Trinidad in that, boy. Trinidad must be in that. The land we love, because PNM great as EPN. Run it.
Welcome to the journey of the 25 most beautiful Caribbean islands. More than 7,000 beautiful islands are scattered in the Caribbean Sea. These breathtakingly beautiful islands have brilliant blue waters, pearl white beaches, hidden lagoons.
It goes on and on and on, but just tell them because I'm going on long. I only have half an hour again, about 20 topic. I ain't touch small pin and them in the Senate yet, so let me move on. Trinidad, they make it. In the top 25, Caribbean must be only at 34. Homeowners to face triple whammy increases in 2024. They to get property tax, increase in electricity rates, increase in insurance premiums. And it's not triple whammy because the PNM coming to raise your water too. And all you want to vote? Yes, man. If you're a black man or black woman, you must vote PNM because they look like you. Coleman but looks black like you. Stuart Smallpin Young looks black like you. Convan Geldial Singh, he looks black like you. Rohanson, when I see him come back from Saudi Arabia, he's black. You understand? Those guys are really black, so vote for them. But don't vote for yourself, pay property tax. Don't vote for yourself, pay higher T&Tech. Don't vote for yourself, higher insurance for your house. Don't vote for yourself, more water rate, higher water rate. And don't vote for yourself, that's cool. Guardian Media, November. Look, the Bolin towering waste. The Edinburgh towers that we talk about here. Guardian Media and the Express put a towering wastage and they're talking and so on. And Express, you miss the whole point. Because the true story that we have been telling you is that those Edinburgh 500 towers and Harmony Hall and about 1.8 billion in projects including Las Alturas occurred during Keith Christopher Rowley's tenure as Minister of Housing from December 2003 till sometime in 2006, end of 2006, 2007 with Noel Garcia. Because Archie put it up, the Guardian had the correct article way back and Keith Rowley admitted HCC projects hit by approval woes, defects and mistakes cost 2.4 billion. 1.8 billion of that. Keith Rowley was the minister. You all promote he the prime minister. And Keith Rowley said, and then this article disappeared. Like it went in the dark web by TSTT with Kamal Georges and Lisa Agard. It disappeared. You want to know why? Look at what Rowley said here. The news, the prime minister, go up a bit more. Yeah, lift up. On Friday, right, hold it right there, let the people see. And this was in 2018, I think November 18, 2018, or November 3rd, 2018. On Friday, Prime Minister Keith Rowley confirmed that pressure to provide state housing to a growing market meant that the HDC was sometimes forced to bypass approvals and procedures to complete projects on time. You know what bypassing approvals and procedures means? Breaking the law. Keith Rowley confessed to being the minister who knew that HDC was breaking the law, and the projects that he was in charge of, Las Alturas, Greenvale, where they bought farmland and floodplain land and built houses on it without the requisite approvals, and Faris Al-Rawi was on that board with Montai. People nearly drowned and dead. People suffered and lost everything because Rowley bypassed approvals. Rowley admitted to breaking the law, and this article just poof, disappeared. You know why it's here? Because the douglAR kept it. I just delete everything off my phone except this. This is a prime minister absolutely confessing to breaking the law. And then you come to tell me all kind of thing about partnership and all kind of thing. It is Keith Rowley. Move that. And when you see Keith Rowley's prime minister, and in St. Joseph you have Convent Girl, this is how your roads will be in St. Joseph. Who going to pay for all of the damage done to people's car? We saw 6 videos this week of people busting their tire, their shocks, their rim mash up. We saw a biker fall down on the highway in Point 14. A DJ dead. Look at Maracas Royal Road. That's another accident, you know. A man went in a pothole, you know. A man went in a pothole and the whole tire, everything, crankshaft, everything mashed up. They have no anesthetic in Beach. A child, let's leave that clown there. A father took his child in Beach to the health center because they had toothache, and the dentist there said, well, that had to come out. But they had no anesthesia. They had nothing to numb it. So they couldn't do anything. So the child had to suffer. Do you know what it is to watch a child suffer in that kind of pain? When my daughter have a little virus, a cold, a blocked nose, and she only, and the nose, and the kind of snoring, I can't sleep because that alone is just torture, and that's not real pain. Toothache is real pain. They have no sugar strips in the health center, in Beach and all environments, in the environs, for people to check the diabetes. This Convent Girl is the Minister of Health. You all elect dunces. St. Joseph, this is your MP. Wassa, in the same area, countryside, man, connection mash up. Wassa come and say, hey boy, we had to fix that, you know. But we have no fittings. Fittings to fix, to join and thing. If you go buy the hardware and you buy the fittings, bring it back, we go fix it for you. The man bouncy starter and went by the hardware and buy the fittings for Wassa to fix the thing. That is PNM. But they want more of your money, more tax. They have a 10-hour wait at Mount Hope Pediatric. A fella tell Ole last week, tell me he took his child there, and it's 10 hours they wait to see a doctor. Also, Levy Day. Because down in the SWRHA, it's not only TSTT, it's not only the Attorney General Office, it's not only TT Post, it's not only PriceSmart and Republic Bank and other companies getting hacked. The SWRHA. And the SWRHA puts out a media release. The Southwest Regional Health Authority advises members of the public that on Monday, October 23, 2023, at 3:45 a.m., the authority's Information Communication Technology ICT platform suffered a cybersecurity incident. However, go up. While this resulted in minimal disruptions to our usual excellent customer service operations due to our recovery manual systems, the authority is working assiduously with external partner agencies, including the TT Cybersecurity Incident Response and Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, to fully restore operation. Everything sung in good end. A little worry nothing happen. What's this internal memo? Our 2 internal memos here. High priority mail. Circulate all staff. Office of the Chief Executive Officer 2 days after the cyber attack. But the press release went out on the 24th. This is the 25th. Cybersecurity incident. All personal computers, PC, including SWRHA assigned laptops, will be scanned to detect and eliminate viruses. This will be completed via personal staff visits to all areas. By order of exigent priority, the following clinical and non-clinical area will return to full operations. biochemistry lab, and they go down. So here the next memo, they wait, all other areas will follow subsequently. They say everything good, you know. It's just a little hack we organize the police working with, no big thing. Watch this memo. All other areas would follow. Now the next one, to all staff, officer, this is the 24th. The SWRHA wishes to bring the attention of all staff members that on Monday, October 23rd, right, we had a cyber attack. The Selma truck. While the matter is being addressed, we can reassure that access to SWRHA computer devices, including software and email systems, will be restored on a phased basis. Up to now, some of them are restored, right? And on top of that, now I'm asking Minister Convan-Gyal Dayal Singh, is the CEO at the SWRHA under any sort of investigation? Is $67 million missing, or has it gone missing from the SWRHA? Has the fraud squad been called in? Was the fraud squad down in the SWRHA, down in that region on Monday of this week? What's the position, Mr. Convan-Gyal? Are you keeping everything a secret like your Prime Minister Rowley, like your small pin brethren? The people are sick and tired of all of you PNM. So you go ahead, because the election surely would come, whether sooner or later. And the curtail all you would get, especially you in St. Joseph. You're number one in the world. You will get the number one cuttass in St. Joseph. Opposition objects to third highway inquiry. I just want to say a special good evening to independent senator, who I can, as always, forget his name, Dioruk Timal. Brother, I just want to say, all I say is good evening to you. You know. Me say nothing else. To independent senator, Dioruk Timal. That's all I say. Okay, my brother? May God bless you. And you're in charge of the NCI. You're very holy, and Diwali just passed and thing. Yes. Yeah, I just saying good evening. Wassa blame for Holback on Bridge. Ex-CEO slams board, PNM board for detrimental decision. This just went quiet at NP. NP, they shut down Petroleum. NP in a total mess. The workers being abused. Former Chief Executive Officer, State-owned Trinidad and Tobago National Petroleum Marketing, Bernard Mitchell, has warned of the company's impending demise unless urgent change is made. Bernard, who resigned in 2020, imagine these intelligent, brilliant citizens of Trinidad and Tobago resigning left, right, and center because they cannot work with PNM sycophants. They cannot work with Rowley's board members. Watch these board members. Sahid Hossain, Lincoln Anthony, Melanie Trim, Elson James, Karinsa Tulsi. Yes, the NP board, did you all re-engage the general manager? Is the general manager subject of a whistleblower's report? And they fired the chief internal auditor responsible for managing the investigation. Why? We now start to monitor that. But we will keep the information written and printed by former CEO Bernard Mitchell, serious individual, an accomplished, brilliant human being. But you see, PNM can't deal with bright people. PNM can't deal with merit. The PNM cabinet has the lowest intellectual capital of any cabinet ever assembled in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, way back from 1961 come forward. They are just completely incompetent and dotish. No joke. And it's not even funny. As we say, not even funny. Vasant. Oh, you're going, Minister, man? Hey, we Minister, man. All right. Marvelous Marva, but it's all right. Once you put Marvelous Marva, we go deal with Marvelous Marva, right? I think they put Marvelous Marva, you know. In fact, leave Marvelous. Marvelous Marva, you will get it next week. Because I had to deal with Vasant. Vasant. Let me be clear. Because 3 people message me and say, Anil, why you do that? The man is, you know, he come in a meeting. Let me tell you something. And let us be clear. In our party, there can always be improvements. People can have different ideas. about HR, personnel, strategies, policies, work ethics, plan, moving forward, the machinery, if the institution and if the constitution is being upheld. Those are legitimate internal disagreements which are healthy. We have no problem with that. So members of the UNC as a political organization are free to voice and fight for what is right to improve their party from the ground up. That's fine. This fellow is a whole different story. This fellow is a pure nimakaram, because this fellow went and joined with the PNM. He joined with Rowley's roadmap to recovery that was suffering the people of Trinidad and Tobago in every area of life. This man actively worked to assist the PNM and Winston Gypsy Peters against your UNC candidate, Michelle Benjamin, who beat both of them. This man has not, even when the PNM and Clarence Rambarat attacked the partnership agricultural policy when he was the Minister of Agriculture, he never defended himself. He has not attacked the PNM until only last week when he came to a meeting and now say everything is horrible. Well, if everything is horrible, you are part and parcel of the reason that it's horrible, because you are, Vasant, are a member of the PNM roadmap to recovery, which is the roadmap to debt, decimation, and infrastructural degradation. Look at him there, right? There is your Vasant. Furthermore, when the honorable leader of the opposition told me to go in St. Joseph and coordinate and assist the councillors and assist the UNC in St. Joseph, I called many people, all former candidates and so on. I wouldn't call all, but I wouldn't call their name now. But I even called Volney, who cussed me. Volney tell me, Anil is the worst. But then, unfortunately, Volney passed away about 9 months after. But I called him, I took my cuss, I said, sir, that's okay. We can differ personally, but I extend an invitation to you to come and assist, to walk, to work, to give you ideas. I called Vasant, Jack Warner called Vasant, and you could ask Jack Warner. And I said, Jack, call Vasant, tell him come by you. We'll sit down and meet and see how we could work and build from the ground. Vasant refused. Vasant didn't want to help UNC. Vasant does not care. Vasant believed that he must come in and he must just be a minister. So being a Nimakaram is what Vasant is. So y'all who find that I should not post this picture, you see, Vasant also accuses all of us, including me, of cheating because he got blown out 17,000 to 1,000. Now, gerrymandering don't help when you get a tsunami of curtail, okay? But to accuse me and everybody, and I take it personally, of cheating in an election to beat you, but Vasant, you have no support. Vasant will call a meeting and not get more than 11 or 12 people. He will do a live and not get more than 20 people. Right now on YouTube here on douglAR Politics must we have 1.2, 1.3 thousand, about 500, 400, 500 on Facebook, and we migrate everybody from Facebook. And PNM trying to shut down the live and the thing on Facebook. By tomorrow morning on Facebook, they'll have 24,000, 26,000 impressions. Our doubles and coffee does go, a hot one will go, 200 shares, 300 shares. One of them even went 2,300 shares and 170,000 views. Vasant cannot get 20 views. Vasant cannot even get his wife, girlfriend, friend, uncle, nene, somebody to come and sit down with him in a meeting. But yet he says when he loses that somebody cheat him. Nobody cheat him. So understand, if Vasant would like to come and help the UNC, come and walk, come and help, come and organize, come and volunteer, like all the ground troops that go. There's no, Kamala said there's no elitism, what you must just gallery, sit down there and say you back and go on a podium and talk. No, if you want to work, if you want to improve. And then finally, let me tell you something. Because some of you all may think this is a joke. Because some of you who believe that because you angry with the leader, or you're angry with somebody the leader have in a position, or you're angry with Anil, or you're angry with Susan, or whoever, that it's okay to help the PNM. Let me tell you something. When I do in this douglAR politics, I not on no kicks with Rowley and Smallpin and Al Rawi and Convent Girl. I not on no friend thing with them. This is not no game. I really detest to the highest order their heartless, wicked, malicious, tyrannical, oppressive policies that turn and plunge our country towards failed state status. Me ain't kicking, me ain't joking. It's not a game. But for some of y'all, it's clearly a game. Because for Vasant Bharath to go and hug up Rowley, it means that you agree with the discrimination against Hindu people with open fire cremation. It means you agree with the geographic discrimination of UNC Health Corporations. It means you agree with a pathological liar who would lie on other human beings in the parliament and accuse them of conspiracy to murder. It means you agree that a woman must give you pum-pum to be a minister. It means that you agree that corporate governance must not exist. It means you agree that procurement legislation must be watered down and Rowley must control all your money. You agree in interlocking directorships. You agree that a man accused of fake oil could get an arbitration not appealed and then get $1 billion in revenue over 10 years. That's what you agree with. You agree that a man like Rowley could go and sit down and rub up the leg of Budit, sit in his house and eat food with a known human trafficker. You agree with that? I'm not playing that. So let Vasant stay where he is. Go in the PNM. Because he believe in that. So y'all who kind of try, the three of y'all who try to defend that now. Explain that now. Explain that Rowley's policy of discriminating against athletes and children and cutting food and cutting gate, cutting UTT, cutting custard, closing down THTTI, recusing himself and his cabinet ministers 450 times. Y'all agree with that? You see? All you're not making sense. Because for Vasant to endorse Rowley, for Vasant to join Rowley's road to recovery, as people were dying of COVID-19, as Rowley was oppressing, called an election and kept 35,000 citizens out, gerrymandering boundaries, controlling the Fernandez scope, the best friend of Gadsby Dolly, cheating in elections. You all agree with that? So it's okay to Vasant to join that team? It's not. I am philosophically opposed to Rowley and the PNM. I am spiritually opposed to Rowley and the PNM. I oppose Rowley as not being a man. Rowley is a mama pool. Rowley does not even treat all his children as one. He have outside children and he discriminates against them as opposed to his inside children. Rowley does not even have the respect at 72 years old to be horny any wife without a prophylactic, could take home disease and death. Who would do that? All our women does do a little something and so on, but we do it safely. Not saying that it's good. But who would risk the life of their wife home? That's what Rowley does. Dropping children all over the place. Children who can't spend quality time with their biological father. That's good? You're going to hug up that? Rowley's a miscreant. Rowley is deleterious to the positive development of Trinidad and Tobago. Rowley is an arrogant, pathological liar. Vasant hug up Rowley. And you telling me, leave Vasant? Look, fire burn Vasant from his foot to the tippy top of his head. Mistake to shut down Petroleum. All you now know that 5 years later, November 30th, 5 years, refinery slowed down, shut down. All you now know that is a mistake. What mistake? It was malicious, vindictive. It was done by Keith Rowley. It was done against the advice of Solomon McKinsley and Lashley reports. It was done against the advice of the Petroleum board. It was done against the advice of Nicola Oliveri, the then Minister of Energy. Rowley shut it down because a man tell him, if I go down, you go down, we all go down, and I love you like hog love mud. As that goes on, I'm going to move forward because Archie, look at your clock there, Archie. Why are you looking at technology, boy? I'm going to just, the Newsday, Guardian, Express, and the Arima Business Association, plus one or two others, trying to say that Keith Rowley and Kamala have the same responsibility for the crime scourge. Now, I know to some of y'all that sounds so ludicrous, but they really believe that. Because politics in Trinidad and Tobago is not about truth, sense, constitutional, rule of law, power, responsibility. This fella, Rampasad from the Arima Business Association, is one of those who said that, trying to blame Kamala for some crime talks that is a figment of the imagination of Kangaloo and Rowley, pushed by the mass PNM media, as if that is some solution. But Rowley say, yeah, him going to your own talks, but them not attacking Rowley. Well, let me just read a bit from the Constitution for you, to show you all that the leader of the opposition has no power whatsoever. The Prime Minister has the responsibility, the power, and is in charge of keeping the nation safe. The executive authority of Trinidad and Tobago shall be vested in the President and subject to this Constitution may be exercised by him. There shall be a cabinet for Trinidad and Tobago, which shall have the general direction and control of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Shall, not may, not bring the leader of the opposition, let we have talks and may. The cabinet, which is the Prime Minister and the Attorney General and other ministers therein as required or desired by the Prime Minister, shall have the general direction and control of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and shall be collectively responsible, therefore, to the Parliament. The cabinet shall consist of the Prime Minister and such number of other ministers, of whom one shall be the Attorney General. You hear anything about leader of the opposition being anywhere in the government or having control of anything? So all of y'all, please stop it. You're sounding idiotic. You're making yourselves look very small and dotish. Our country is becoming a bunch of lick packs. All of y'all, no matter how bright, no matter how qualified, only looking for a little contract somewhere and looking for a boomsy to lick. Stop it. We are proud Trinbagonians. Stand up firm for what is right. Move this clung about Kamala. If all you want to blame Kamala, put Kamala in charge. Let Kamala have the direction and control of the government. Let Kamala shall have, call the election, and Kamala shall have, and Kamala shall fix, and Kamala shall implement, and Kamala's team shall be bright. Bank worker kill. Well, boy, let's go to the small pin now. Small pin say, technocrats is not him now. You see, one day, when it suits them, is we negotiate and we do that. Nah, we didn't do that. No, we not doing that. It's I. If you listen to them, you get dizzy. Run this small pin.
The last time when we were looking at the energy sector, so there was a stalemate with the NGC negotiations, which you continue to look at the contracts and in terms of getting the best value for the country. You took a trip to Houston, you broke that point. At that point, you broke the stalemate that existed. There are about 5 more contracts still outstanding. Will you be involved in these negotiations?
Well, no, I don't expect to be. As I was coming down here, I saw a whole page advertisement in the newspapers by the opposition, which is hell-bent on misleading this country. About me negotiating gas contract. What had happened is that the two parties, NGC negotiates gas contracts for this country, the National Gas Company. And in that company you have the experts who do it and their advisors. I do not get involved in the actual price of a negotiation or that's not my job.
as the Prime Minister has said on countless occasions, as I have said on countless occasions, as the Minister of Energy has said on countless occasions prior to today, the Prime Minister did not engage in negotiations of gas prices. He did not engage in those discussions in Houston in 2017.
When I went to Houston 2 or 3 months ago with Minister Young on a mission to meet BP, Shell, EOG, and also Exxon, because Exxon is not producing here, but the other three. BP, our major supplier, Shell, the new big player that bought out BG, and EOG, our second largest gas producer. I went to Houston and concluded the negotiations that had been going on. And we agreed on a gas price across the board.
But what I can tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago without fear of contradiction is working along with the technocrats at the Ministry of Energy, working along with the experts at the National Gas Company and the whole global organization of Shell, their traders and everyone, we are negotiating the right types of pricing for it to make sense for Trinidad and Tobago. So to answer that other red herring, no, I don't decide pricing, I don't decide term sheets, etc. There are experts who do that. But somebody has to be respected at the helm, somebody has to be respected to lead the discussions and the negotiations, and I do it with the technocrats. So on the last visits when we've gone to negotiate, you have the president of NGC, you have the commercial manager, you have the lawyers, you have the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Energy, you have Shell and a whole team that has been put together by Shell globally to negotiate this, and they are the ones doing the work as to where we move the pressure points. But you need someone who, as a result of respect and a relationship with the government of Venezuela, can walk into the door and through the door and have those discussions. And again, with full transparency, we have nothing to hide. They put it out on national TV. We leave that to them.
Get Shell, right? Shell again. Shell, remember when Traffic Guru had some gas during sanction time left Italy, and it left with paperwork of Shell, and then halfway through the Atlantic, it changed to Traffic Guru. It come into Point-a-Pierre, and it leave as ESU Road Shipping. Traffic Guru and ESU Road Shipping is Wilmer Ruperti, who is Maduro and Rice. But even independent Senator Vera, senior counsel granted by the PNM cabinet, former PNM member of a board and thing, even independent Senator Vera had to say after 12 minutes, 12 minutes, Honorable Minister, answer the question. What's the motion about? We want to know why you are negotiating. Why are you policymaker, negotiator, deal breaker? Run it.
To ensure that this future is maintained. Not to say, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you, Minister. Just for my own edification, I think I would like to draw your attention on some of these, what I see as the key issues coming out of this motion and what Senator Marcus said. I don't see much traction about the closure of heritage. That's really not part of the debate motion. I don't see anybody's going to argue about the need for confidentiality and the need to maintain sensitive information whilst negotiations are ongoing. However, I think Senator Mark has raised issues. The US has granted a license. Is that license in peril if Venezuela invades the Essequibo region or it fails to have the general elections as was agreed? I think that's a matter we need to hear. Secondly, what is your role as lead negotiator on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago, and whether or not that extends to being able to speak on behalf of companies which are not part of the state but are companies in their own right and separate. So like National Gas Company.
Okay, Senator Vera, with the greatest of respect, those are issues that will be addressed, and I will certainly address them.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
And he went on for 42 minutes and 38 seconds with his hand moving so. You know, once he hand moving so, is lie after lie after lie. And he did not address those issues. But I listened very carefully to the Stuart Smallpin, arrogant dunce young. But I couldn't play the whole thing. But run it at you. Only listen carefully.
And why do we stuck with those principles that come from the UN? But we could not pursue the deal because the operators shall go nowhere near it because of fear of sanctions. We did not give up. We very quietly came up with a strategy that we implemented as soon as possible, a change of administration in the United States, all the time maintaining our relationship with Venezuela. When we were in the middle of COVID and our borders were closed, and the Vice President of Venezuela, who became the Vice President today, Delcy Rodriguez, wrote to us diplomatically and said, I would like to come to Trinidad and Tobago, and I, as the Minister of National Security, on the advice of the Prime Minister, allowed the Vice President of Venezuela to come to Trinidad and Tobago. The opposition led the charge on behalf of President Guaido, who they don't know where he is today, to say that the Prime Minister, they wrote to the United States government that Prime Minister Keith Rowley and Stuart Young should be sanctioned. That is the behavior of the opposition that undermine what is being done for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to press on. In 2022,
well, that one we went to. I hope you all followed it. Stuart Smallpin Young, now the Minister of Energy, said yesterday in the Senate that he, on the advice and authority of the Prime Minister, after Vice Presidente Delcy Rodriguez had written and requested a meeting to deal with dragon gas and oil issues, and gave a team of PDVSA officials to come and meet with Rowley face to face during COVID when you could not come home. Stuart Young just said the Vice President Delcy Rodriguez wrote to the Prime Minister requesting a face-to-face meeting. This was part and parcel of their relationship, and since 2016, how they were negotiating to get the dragon gas deal going and so on. And Stuart Smallpin Young, the Minister of National Security, he just threw Rowley under the bus. He said he went to the Prime Minister and made the request, and the Prime Minister authorized him to sign an exemption for Delcy Rodriguez and the PDVSA officials to land at Piaco during COVID. But here the problem. When he was the Minister of National Security, he didn't say that. He said, in fact, he didn't know who was on the plane. He didn't know the jet was sanctioned. He didn't know anything. And that Delcy Rodriguez was coming to talk COVID. He and Rowley talk all through them out. Let me remind all you. Put up some images, run some video, remind them, Archie. Look here, this came out 2 days after. This is all the information that went to the Ministry of National Security and was signed off by Stuart Smallpin Young. All of the people, Delcy Rodriguez, look, Astrubal Chavez, passport number and so on, signed off. But Rowley, when Kamala came out and busted in the press conference that the sanctioned, indicted Delcy Rodriguez and oil czars and oil executives from PDVSA had landed in Trinidad and Tobago, check what Rowley said. Run the video.
Some person called Astrubal Chavez, who I'm now discovering as part of the commission, he worked as part of a commission for PDVSA restructuring somewhere in his past. Nobody in that meeting was introduced to us as president of PDVSA. Nobody.
Go back now, actually, I'm going to confuse you a bit. Go back to the last Smallpin video that you played from the Senate yesterday, hot off the press, because Rowley and Stuart Young said that Delcy, her visit was per the moment. It was not planned. There was no request. There was no agenda. They didn't know who was on the plane. They didn't know it was oil officials. But yesterday, Stuart Young, in trying to blow his own horn, talked about the history and the timeline of the efforts and how hard he and Rowley were working for this dragon gas, because they realized that it's proven, and they did all the efforts while they didn't do anything else. So when dragon gas failed, the country failed. But listen carefully, because Rowley just tell you, Asdrubal Chavez, PDVSA, oil, I don't know what all they're talking about. They came to talk about COVID-19 and the 16,000 Venezuelans that were here and what sort of assistance. We didn't talk about look what Small Pin say yesterday. Run it.
Because you just can't do that in these contexts. But what I can tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago without fear of contradiction is working along with the technocrats at the Ministry of Energy, working along with the experts at the National Gas Company and the whole global organization of Shell, their traders and everyone, we are negotiating the right types of pricing for it to make sense for Trinidad and Tobago. So to answer that other red herring, no, I don't decide pricing, I don't decide term sheets, etc. There are experts who do that. But somebody has to be respected at the helm. Somebody has to be respected to lead the discussions and the negotiations. And I do it with the technocrats. So on the last visits, when we've gone to negotiate, you have the president of NGC, you have the commercial manager, you have the lawyers, you have the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Energy, you have Shell and a whole team that has been put together by Shell Global. And why do? We stuck with those principles that come from the UN. But we could not pursue the deal because the operators, Shell, would go nowhere near it because of fear of sanctions. We did not give up. We very quietly came up with a strategy that we implemented as soon as possible, a change of administration in the United States, all of the time maintaining our relationship with Venezuela. When we were in the middle of COVID, and our borders were closed, and the Vice President of Venezuela, who became the Vice President today, Delcy Rodriguez, wrote to us diplomatically and said, I would like to come to Trinidad and Tobago, and I, as the Minister of National Security, on the advice of the Prime Minister, allowed the Vice President of Venezuela to come to Trinidad and Tobago. The opposition led the charge on behalf of President Guaido, who they don't know where he is today, to say that the Prime Minister, they wrote to the United States government that Prime Minister Keith Rowley and Stuart Young should be sanctioned. That is the behavior of the opposition that undermine what is being done for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now put up, let's go back, 2020, around April, May. Put up some articles. Let's hear what Stuart Young had to say. National Security Minister Stuart Young has said there is no record of what was discussed at the meeting between Venezuelan Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. He said minutes were not recorded, nor were photographs taken. The minister also said there was no preset agenda. He just said Delcy Rodriguez wrote and requested a meeting, and how you don't. If you all understand protocol, just a meeting one. I just want a meeting to what? Sit down on the red couch past 3 dog and a parrot? No. He was boasting about dragon gas yesterday, and he said this was the relation, this was the work going on to continue the relationship and to discuss and to move it forward, and that the Shell executives didn't want none of that. Because them say, we not talking nothing about that because it has sanctioned. But he, Stuart Young, on the advice of the Prime Minister, them went to talk. So he admitted yesterday, the discussions were about dragon gas, about PDVSA, and they were all PDVSA officials. He said, the minister also said, there was no preset agenda, and they did not know who would be accompanying Rodriguez to the meeting. Go back to the list you just showed me there, Archie. I'm giving you plenty hard work, but I want my people, look, this is signed by the Ministry of National Security and approved by Stuart Young. look, Mr. Astrobal Chavez, all of these, Santana, Bautista, those are all PDVSA officials. Delcy came with 5 PDVSA officials. Stuart Young yesterday in defending the motion on Dragon gas and Venezuela gas, exploration gas, assumption gas to Trinidad and Tobago, discussed and boasted that he and Rowley brought Delcy to discuss that. The minister also said there was no precedent. Young said he did not know what aircraft the Venezuelan delegation was using. Right? He didn't know. He's the only man who knew because they had all of that information and he is the only one who could have given the exemption. Put up another one. Young said when the Venezuelan delegation arrived, they did not have contact with all of them. We saw them. They were brought into the diplomatic center and they went down a corridor into a housing bay. He said he, Prime Minister Keith Rowley, and Foreign Affairs Minister Dennis Moses met with Rodriguez and Chavez, who were in personal protection equipment gear. He said the conversation was about the 16,523 people who are registered in Trinidad and Tobago who are Venezuelans, plus the more that may be here. He added an offer was made by Venezuela to provide COVID test kits, which was declined by Trinidad and Tobago. Archie, run back small print from here. Wait, let me see that one. Put it up and then run back small print from yesterday, because this is the lies of yesteryear, and listen to the truth of yesterday. Young said Chavez was not PDVSA president at that time. Yes, but he was a PDVSA official. Chavez is a Chavista. Maduro, he is oil and gas. He is Wilmer Ruperti. We did not know the type of plane. We did not know the rest of the delegation at our level, meaning the cabinet ministers accompanying the prime minister. That is not unusual. Show back the document with all of that. Right? Show back the document that he approved. Look, all the name, all the passport number, all the information. He knew everything. He approved it. And yesterday he said he went and asked the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, approved it. Let's hear him again. Throw Rowley under the bus. Run that video again, Archie.
Son, in 2022, we President Guaido, we stuck with those principles that come from the UN, but we could not pursue the deal because the operators shall go nowhere near it because of fear of sanctions. We did not give up. We very quietly came up with a strategy that we implemented as soon as possible, a change of administration in the United States, all the time maintaining our relationship with Venezuela. When we were in the middle of COVID, and our borders were closed, and the Vice President of Venezuela, who became the Vice President today, Delcy Rodriguez, wrote to us diplomatically and said, I would like to come to Trinidad and Tobago, and I, as the Minister of National Security, on the advice of the Prime Minister, allowed the Vice President of Venezuela to come to Trinidad and Tobago. The opposition led the charge on behalf of President Guaido, who they don't know where he is today, to say that the Prime Minister, they wrote to the United States government that Prime Minister Keith Rowley and Stuart Young should be sanctioned. That is the behavior of the opposition that undermine what is being done for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So the opposition was trying to undermine. Not that he admitted that he, despite Shell and other companies saying they wouldn't touch it, they don't want to touch that, sanctions a serious thing. He and Rowley say, yeah, we go do that, we is boss, we hubris, we arrogant, we in charge, and we in your face. Come Delcy, come PDVSA, we go talk that. That is an admission that they were negotiating to broker a deal and break sanctions. Why? So why Shell didn't meet? Because they have integrity. They understand the rule of law, the processes. They understand the seriousness. But Rowley and Smallpin play with all your future. But the douglAR won all, you know. It had election just after that when they were lying after Delcy land in April, end of April, May. They had an election in August. And all you thought, them fellas was telling the truth and protecting you from COVID. But I told you about Trafigura, Pete. Remind them now, run it.
Yes, Euro shipping. Say it with me, my people. Wilme Rumpeti. So Rumpeti bring gas to Paria with Newman George, and Rumpeti buy it and go on with it. A ship called the Aldan left Venezuela after the Manolates unloaded. Delcy land on the 26th, 27th of March. The Aldan came across from Venezuela, loaded up at Point-a-Pierre. 148,960 barrels of gasoline on the Aldan. And remember now, that's all, you know, the original consignee, they said it was going St. Eustatius. Then when it reached halfway through, they changed it to Aruba. Aruba said, nah, fire burn that, we ain't order nothing. The Netherlands said, we don't know nothing about that. Then a certain lady who used to write in the Express before we find out that she loved red and don't like yellow, and she was lying down, she lie down on she back so and she read a sanction clause. She's the only person to see it and print it in the Express about a sanction clause that was put in on the 22nd of April when the contract was consummated on the 15th. If you take gas and payment made on the 15th, what you're changing contract that done handle already. You don't change contract when it done. It done. But it's all right. All you didn't want to know about that. The media didn't want to know about that. All you didn't want to ask Rowley about that. All you didn't want to talk Spanish. All you didn't bring no FIU. You didn't bring no Spanish. You didn't bring no Bajan or no UK SRP to investigate that. But the story had done there. Paria jump out now. Boldface and print in the newspapers that ES Euro shipping paid for the gas, the 148,960 barrels, on the 15th of April. Here the problem. The douglAR the invoice here. The douglAR the invoice for EU, ES Euro shipping. They say the payment was made from a Deutsche Bank account to Paria RBC account on the 15th of April. All you can't see it, but it's here. However, this invoice was only done on the 27th of April. So what they pay? How they could pay without an invoice? The invoice was made 12 days after Paria said they received payment. Here the next problem. On this invoice has as Paria bank account First Citizens Bank 9 Savannah. So how ES Euro shipping know that Paria even have a RBC account?
Exactly. And that meeting occurred, those deals with the gas that we found out about. And then later on in October of that year, in the Senate, I asked the then Minister of Energy, Franklin Kahn, in April, how many barrels of fuel were bought from Trafigura PTE, Wilmer Ruperti, and sold to ES Euro Shipping, Wilmer Ruperti, and came into Trinidad and Tobago at Point-a-Pierre. Do you know what his answer was? 1.2 million barrels for April alone. But Kamla had bust the mark about Delcy visit. Newman George and Paria were in that meeting. It was no COVID. They come and tell you COVID and 16,000 Venezuelans and so on. But when that plan gets spraddled, to bring in fuel from Venezuela tycoon Wilmer Ruperti, put some nice Trinidad and Tobago clean paper on it, launder the paper and send back the gas, breaching sanctions to Venezuela, 1.2 million barrels. When they could not do that again, we then heard of 5 divers in a pipe, a decommissioned pipe. What they were doing, why they fixing it up? To do what? Outside, where the vessel does not have to come inside, where there's no record of actually coming to Trinidad. What they were doing in that pipe? Why would people, knowing that fellas were alive down in a pipe, leave them for 39 hours to die. When we see all over the world people fight to save others, even putting their lives at risk. Why? Ask yourself why. And now yesterday we hear that Stuart Young, on the advice of Rowley, allowed and signed the exemption for Delcy Rodriguez and 5 PDVSA officials to come and discuss gas, to discuss dragon gas, to discuss fuel, to discuss energy. Newman George was there in that meeting, and we saw what took place with the Aldan after that, immediately after that. These are very serious issues. And he come there to say that the UNC was calling for sanctions. The UNC was trying to protect, and you, by your admission yesterday, Stuart Young, the UNC was absolutely correct. Because Shell, BP, all the international companies would not touch a meeting with Delcy Rodriguez and PDVSA officials. That's why Rowley was stuttering. I see somebody named Asdrubal Chavez actually line up that video again, because Stuart Young just sold out Keith Rowley, because Rowley was acting, because Stuart Young yesterday said, on receipt of a letter requesting a meeting influeing with our relationship, oil and gas and dragon gas and other energy matters with Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president of Venezuela, and we recognize, PNM recognize her, and she's still there, and we brought her in, even though Shell and them didn't want part of that. They say we not in that. Stuart Young said he went to the Prime Minister Keith Rowley, and on the advice of the Prime Minister, he signed the exemption for Delcy Rodriguez, the sanctioned plane, and the PDVSA officials named one by one coming down there. But Rowley back then pretended, I don't know nothing about this, she just reached. But Stuart Young said, no, I asked Rowley for permission to let them in. Run it.
Some person called Asdrubal Chavez, who I'm now discovering as part of the commission, he worked as part of a commission for PDVSA restructuring somewhere in his past. Nobody in that meeting was introduced to us as president of PDVSA. Nobody.
As Asdrubal Chavez, he didn't know nothing. Email gate, liar. Land date, liar. Greenvale, liar. Las Alturas, liar. Edinburgh Towers, liar. Harmony Hall, liar. Nelson Gate, liar. Delcy Gate, liar. Randall Mitchell say he ain't go a circus in a long time. But Randall Mitchell, ain't you a cabinet minister? Run it. Yes, man, because you see, I feel I will go ahead. Long time. Long time what? Right. You ain't go this circus long time?
Randall, make a contribution now. Little 10 minutes.
But you in cabinet.
All right.
But he's a cabinet minister.
Have a seat. So we have about 3 debates going on, and the only person who has the attention of the floor right now is Senator Roberts. So Senator Roberts, continue.
Oh yes. So, Mr. Vice President, Mr. President, sorry, and I should, as a senator, know that you are the president, because I appreciate that greatly. I won't go through all of this, but and just, actually the last one, just to let you all know that Stuart Young is a minister of energy. What he said yesterday in the Senate about I, and I am the negotiator, and they trust me, and I am the one. What they said in 2017 when Rowley and him went to Houston and left the sitting Minister of Energy back here in Trinidad and negotiated gas price. and cause NGC to make a loss for the first time and 11 companies to shut down in Point Lisas because of their abject stupidity. Look at this picture. As Venezuela and Guyana, there is posturing. December 1st, the International Court will rule on the arbitral agreement between Guyana, the Essequibo, and so on. On December 3rd, Venezuela will have a referendum where Maduro is asking the citizens to reject the International Court. And Stuart Young is taking your assets, your resources, your money, and negotiating with those people. Look at the picture of Stuart Young, small pin, sitting down with Delcy Rodriguez. And think about this incestuous relationship where these people have been lying, sneaking around, hiding, and negotiating your assets without your knowledge, and they refuse to account to you, but they want to tax you. You have that, Archie? You don't have a picture of small pin sitting down with Delcy? Well, that's all right. We will finish off then. Stuart Young boast yesterday that he went on CNN with Quest to tell you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, all you have a good... Look. Yes. Glad man. Like he want to have 3 dogs, a parrot, and a couch too. This is not funny. We stand in solidarity with Guyana against the aggression of Maduro and Venezuela. And we look forward to the industrial court, and we in the UNC stand by international court, the rule of law, natural justice, and respect for authority, sovereignty, and national status. But this clown here tell all you on CNN that all you have a good life. And yesterday he boasts about it. He was proud about his interview. While all of we was laughing at him as the idiot he is. He proud of that. Run it. Minister stands up here boasting and then goes on to say that he went on CNN to tell us our life good. And we couldn't understand what he was talking about, but we understand now. While we could walk out here and dead, we would bust retire outside when we drive in. The country in a mess, you can't buy nothing in the grocery, $100 worth $60 as compared to 2015. But he's saying we life good. So he come to say he went on Quest and tell them that. What we ask here in this motion is how much you paid Quest for that interview. How much the taxpayers paid for that interview. Because Quest didn't know about the Honorable Minister. Quest didn't know about him. Quest did not call him. We are not a major player right now because since 2015, our production, our productivity has diminished on every level.
Stick a small pin there.
Yes, let me do that, yes. That, but I thought he was putting back the CNN, but all you have it, all you go check it. I went on long, it's 9:30, 2 hours. I'm tired. I had to drink some water. But all you know, the Quest interview when the clown was saying how people in Trinidad and Tobago have a good life and we stand ready to do anything. Yesterday, immediately we could get gas from the Dragon Field. 174 kilometers. Listen. I can't make this up. Ladies and gentlemen, elections.
The government revenue is used to look after approximately 1.4 million people here in Trinidad and Tobago who, quite frankly, have quite a good life.
Good life, you say?
That's what PNM think your good life is. Next time you get a chance to vote, put a good curtail on the PNM. Rid us of the blight that is the PNM. Good night.